I have been doing content writing for some time, and I was part of a business network organization where a fellow colleague, a business colleague, he was trying to write his book on velocity reading, and that is when he asked me that, "Would you write my book for me?" See, every assignment you worked on, it's like your baby, but at the end of the day, you have to part with it. But I take it very professionally because I'm here to give my skill, my knowledge, my expertise, and I'm paid for it. I try and take a lot of inputs from my clients, what they want, how they want it to be delivered. Like example, fiction versus non-fiction or non-fiction versus autobiography. When it comes to non-fiction books, say a self-help book, so there I need to work on a particular structure. But whereas when it's an autobiography, it's free flow of information, storytelling style, and all. So I need to understand every client's requirement, what they want.
Welcome, Jyoti. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thanks, Maura. Thanks for having me here.
So, Jyoti, we are trying to figure out the navigation path for people who can write well. So, with you, we would like to learn more about ghostwriting. Why did you want to become a writer? Like you were into HR, and what motivated you to move to writing?
Okay. So I was in the field of recruitment. I had my own business and I was catering to different industries. And once I got married, my husband, who is professional photographer, he was majorly into wildlife photography. And I had I was watching him for 2 years. He was sending entries only to one particular contest because the winners would their work would be exhibited in the JJ School of not JJ School of Arts, Jahangir Art Gallery.
Mm-hmm.
So that was his motivation. So he was participating only in that one contest, and for 2 years in line, I saw that, and I told him that you need a bigger platform because you have that skill. My cousin and I, we built a website that time called myodysseys.com, and myodysseys website was all about our travel adventures, my husband and my travel adventures, and the intention was we put very high resolution images of unexplored places in India, because we saw the majority websites, travel websites that were there, they were loaded with information, but there were no pictures. So this was a unique concept that we got that time, almost 16, 17 years back. And our site was loaded with images, high resolution images of different places. So one day, the editor of Go Airways, they had an in-flight magazine called Go Getter. So one day, the editor of Go Getter happened to visit our site. He liked it, and he approached me stating that I want to use these photographs in the magazine. So I said, okay, I'll take permission from my husband and I'll let you know. So my husband agreed. I was happy because he was getting a wider platform now. But at the same time, this editor told me, okay, I have the images now. अब ही article कौन
Story.
लिखेगा? I
Okay.
want you to write the article. And I'm like, I've never written for anyone, anywhere, you know. And he said, you write it, I will train you, I will guide you. And it's with his guidance, I started writing. So for 3 years, I wrote for Go Getter. Every month, we had an article, one or two articles in Go Getter. Then I wrote for MTDC, they have a magazine. Then I wrote for Travel Plus Leisure, that's an international travel magazine, Outlook Traveler. So I wrote for travel for domain basically. But due to some untoward incident in my immediate family, my travel had curtailed because I had to be at home. I had an extended family, but due to that incident, I had to stay back and look after the kids majorly. So I thought I cannot write about travel now because you need to be very updated about travel writing. and that's how I shifted to content writing.
Okay.
So it's all an accidental journey that I'm
So
here.
was it like you always wanted to, like, if you think about your childhood days and
Hmm.
generally your growing up years,
Yeah.
were you interested in writing?
Never.
Never?
I no,
Okay.
no.
Okay.
I have turned out like this, but I have always been a creative person at heart, at mind, and I wanted to pursue JJ School of Arts. I wanted to take an admission there, and maybe fine arts is what I had thought. But then again, during my time, there weren't career counselors and all, so I was not informed about the process. Although
Mm-hmm.
I could not complete or take admission in JJ School of Arts and do a full-fledged 3-year course. But after I completed my management studies, I did take up a program in JJ School of Arts that was a 1-year program for working professionals.
Mm-hmm.
So वो ख्वाहिश पूरी कर ली मैंने as an artist. Yeah.
Okay. And so now that you are a full-time writer, do you enjoy the process, or do you think that yes, this is something that aligns with what you wanted to do, if maybe somewhere?
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy, and now I have this goal that I want to be part of 50 books before I turn 50. So I'm
Okay.
on the yes, I'm on the 42nd book so far, and I have couple of years to go. It seems doable. Let's see.
Okay.
Yeah,
So all the very best, Jyoti. I wish that your wish of 50 books before
yeah.
50 is fulfilled and you are happy with that milestone in your life. So, Jyoti, could you share your journey into ghostwriting and what drew you to this career path?
So I have been doing content writing for some time. And I was part of a business network organization where fellow colleague, a business colleague, he was trying to write his book on velocity reading. And that is when he asked me that, would you write my book for me? And I was like, I have never written non-fiction book. I had written fiction books till then, my own books of short stories, but never attempted a non-fiction book. And he put that trust and confidence in me. And that book was on velocity reading, my very first book under ghostwriting. So practically, I can't call it ghostwriting because he gave me, acknowledged me through his book. But that is how the journey started. So I accidentally got into this line of writing. However, I was not much informed about what ghostwriting is before I actually got into it. Yeah,
Okay. So that's interesting because
yeah,
you got your recognition also with that non-fiction book, right? Because
absolutely.
you were not
Yes,
really a ghostwriter. Um,
actually.
so now, have you worked as a true ghostwriter in that way then after that
Yes,
experience?
all the books after that have been under the ghostwriter tag only.
Okay.
Yeah,
So how do you feel like somebody definitely you are putting in a lot of effort, somebody's ideas are there,
yeah,
but you don't get any credit for it. So how does it
absolutely.
feel then?
See, every assignment you worked on, it's like your baby. But at the end of the day, you have to part with it. But I take it very professionally because I'm here to give my skill, my knowledge, my expertise, and I'm paid for it. I'm paid, like I claim the fees for it. I'm paid for it. It's as good as working in a corporate job where you do multiple assignments, and I'm not sure every time you're acknowledged for these assignments.
Mhm.
But here, the satisfaction is at a different level because you have completed it from the scratch to seeing the book published. And when a client is happy seeing their book, because perhaps they have been struggling a lot to have this one book written and published, and you enter into their life and sort things out for them, so that happiness is next level. So that compensates everything.
So it's more like self-satisfaction than that public recognition, I would say, right?
Yeah, in fact, there are some clients who are very kind enough, And they tell me that, Jyoti, I want to acknowledge you somewhere in the book, perhaps as an editor, because as a part of my writing process, I also edit the books, edit and proofread them. So they acknowledge me as an editor.
Okay.
Yeah. Some are very stringent about the way they want things to be.
Uh-huh.
And I totally accept that because it's a profession after all.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, see, you were able to tell me about the velocity reading because you were
Yeah,
publicly recognized for that work, right? But
absolutely.
when you are writing so many books as a ghostwriter for people and where they don't want you to mention your name anywhere,
Yeah.
and so when you approach another client, how do you showcase your work to them? Because you will have to maintain the anonymity
Absolutely.
somewhere. So how do you manage that?
So, as a part of the agreement that I sign with every client of mine before beginning an assignment, I make them understand that any or every assignment that I get is based on the portfolio that I have built. So when you are accepting, to of me to work on this current assignment, you have seen my past portfolio, and that is how the credibility is established, and you trust me with your assignment now. So even henceforth, whenever there is a prospect who's inquiring with me about book writing, I will be showing this portfolio to them. However, there is a clause that I will be I will not talk, promote, or showcase the work anywhere on social media or otherwise. That confidentiality I have to maintain, and that comes as a part of my agreement also. But when it's on a one-to-one cases where there is an inquiry, there I have to show my portfolio, and most of the clients accept that. Hardly 5% of them say that, no, Jyoti, we don't want you to showcase it anywhere or show it anywhere.
Mhm.
Mostly the leadership positions in corporates. So they are of that opinion. And I think that that's okay because I have the rest 95% portfolio that can be showcased.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do you think is crucial to be successful in the field of ghostwriting?
Myself figuring out the formula, because as I told you, I'm an accidental ghostwriter. What I feel is I'm not writing for myself, I'm not writing for my client, I'm building literature. The literature of this generation, this time, it could be business literature, it could be English literature, or it could be in any form, right? I'm building it, and the literature that I'm creating today for myself or my clients, this is going to be referred in the future. It's going to be a strong reference material, and therefore I think it is very important that I present it correctly, not half baked information. I need to see that. So with that intention in mind, I write. There is no structured formula as such for this.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah. Yeah.
a very freelance solopreneur kind of job, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where you
Yeah.
are looking for clients. And so to be successful, maybe whatever has been your experience, could you share that?
Hmm.
What could help somebody be able to
Uh,
earn something substantial for themselves
all
from
right.
this field of work?
So there are two aspects to it. One is sourcing work. When you're trying to source work, it is very important that you need to have some specialization yourself. Like I said, my background is I come from a HR background, having worked 17 years in the field of recruitment. That is a background that I have built in, which is why I'm able to write for certain industries. Second is I was a very avid reader. I would say was, because now it is more of reading for the clients and not my own reading, what I love to read. So you have to build build this background around you, where everyone who wants to get into this field might have some background, some specialization. And if you have that knack of writing, I would suggest you start writing with that specialization. Towards the start of my career, For almost 7 years, I was actively doing recruitment in the IT field. So I have a fair understanding about that industry. And I think because of that, I could write a book on automation. Because if you're not acquainted with the technical industry, it's very difficult that you can write about it. So identify what is your specialization and try to get work related to that. Start with that, and slowly you build up, and then you can shift to other genres.
Okay.
Secondly, you have sourced work, but how do you get this work? That again, promoting yourself in the right way is important. So I keep posting. I cannot write directly about the kind of assignments that I'm doing, but I can at least state that the industry, like I'm writing a book on this particular industry. So even a viewer or a prospect who wants to write a book through me, they know that Jyoti has written books in these industries.
So a lot of
Yes.
self-publicity has to happen.
Yeah, yeah. Because how would people know otherwise what your skills are? See, we know each other through a platform, right? But on that platform, there must be thousands of writers. But how we came across each other, how we got connected. You must have seen some specific thing in my profile because of which you wanted to be connected, and here we are today.
Mm-hmm.
So we all need to identify for ourselves, are we searchable and how are we searchable? So that again, when I say promotions, it's important that I first figure out the kind of books that I want to write or am comfortable writing in, and likewise I promote myself. So finance is not my strength, and if I go and promote on the social media that I want to try writing a book on finance, tell me, would anyone trust me? Because they would see my portfolio and they would definitely ask me that have you written any book on finance before?
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm not able to back with that information that no, I haven't written but I want to try, no one would want to give me an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to know yourself well, you need to know where your strengths lie, and then you promote yourself. I'll just give you one interesting case here where a senior leadership person, he's in the sales domain, and he's with a huge MNC, and he's based in Mumbai. He approached me to write a book on sales, and till that time I had not written a book on sales. So I shared my portfolio with him, but he came back to me and he very clearly told me that Jyoti, I would like to work with you, but I'll be very frank that you have not written any book on sales. So I don't think so I can go ahead with you, although I'll keep you in mind for my next assignments. And 1 month down the line, he started writing the book with some other writer, and he kept me informed about it, that this is a senior writer and he specializes in sales, all that. And he was in touch with me. And 1.5 months down the line, this client came back to me and said that Jyoti, the writing is already going on, but the way you did the sampling for me when we were having the initial talks, I'm very impressed with that. Now, once the draft is ready, I want you to rework on this book, and I want you to give it a structure, a style to it. I want you to add anecdotes to it and make it more interesting, because this person will be writing purely around sales, kafi conceptual hoga, it will be very academic. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to make it interesting. So this client did come back to me, but see, what helped is I was very frank and told him that sales domain is not my expertise, but seeing my working style, this client did come back, and that
Okay.
book is in process now.
Okay. There are a couple of things. One, you mentioned that you have to know your specialization. You have to
Exactly.
have a good understanding of that area of work, or rather the
Yeah.
industry where you about which you can write. Self-publicity so that people know that you are available to write for others. Plus, you also
Yes.
mentioned that when you're talking to clients, basically you are building a rapport and you're showing them how you work, right? The process
Yeah,
of your work. Like in your case, the example that you
yeah,
shared,
yeah,
you didn't have the expertise, but then you can bring in something else for
yeah.
them,
I
right?
created some value.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
they should be able to see that value, which will help you get more clients, and it may not
true.
immediately, but in the long run, somewhere people will come back.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Mhm.
are you given some structure, or are you given some pointers that these are the things that I want to write about, and then you elaborate with your research work, or how does it happen really?
So the way I work is first and foremost, I create a framework for the book, that is the index, and then we go chapter wise. For every chapter, I first ask the client if they already have any inputs to give me. If not, then I prepare a questionnaire, and then I ask these clients these questions. So these are basically triggers. They have all the inputs, but when I give them these triggers, then they are able to think broadly and they're able to get me more inputs. Then these inputs could be in the form of discussions, brainstorming. They would send me some videos, articles to read, and then based on that, I do my further research.
Okay. Since you are writing for business,
Yeah.
so do you keep a tab on what's happening in this industry, so that if someone comes and speaks to
Hmm.
you are
Hmm.
able to speak the current trends, speak the current language?
Most of the times, I have not come across such situations because what the client
Mhm.
tries and sees is my portfolio. What have I done in the past? What kind of books have I written in the past? Because what I feel and what the clients feel is the expertise, the domain or the industry expertise is what the client is bringing in. The current affairs or anything related to that industry, that information the client is bringing in, I'm bringing the expertise of writing and editing. So that's how we come together as a team.
Mhm.
See, if I want to promote myself, I can do that. I mean, any writer could do that. It's an additional thing that you go out of your way, research the industry, and when you're presenting it to the client, you can make an impression. But frankly speaking, I mean, such a case has not happened so far because most of the times, depending on the portfolio itself, the client is ready to take the assignment ahead.
Okay, so it's a good thing that you mentioned that you don't really have to think about the subject matter expertise, because
Hmm.
that the client is bringing, and they are giving you the pointers basically on which things have to be written.
Yeah, because now I just think about it. If I'm working on 10 different industries, it is difficult for me to keep updating myself about every industry. Suppose I work on an IT assignment in this year, IT book in this year. Maybe the next book I might work is 2 years down the line, and by then the trends must have changed. So practically, it is not possible for me to keep a know-how of 10 different industries at a time, thinking IT का requirement कभी भी आ सकता है या मेडिकल हेल्थ केयर रिलेटेड इंडस्ट्री का रिक्वायरमेंट कभी भी आ सकता है. So when I'm telling this to the writers, I think let the subject matter expertise come from the clients, and you be
Mhm.
good at your work. You see that how you can present value. However, in my case, as I do
Mhm.
content writing also for websites and all, so I fairly know what's happening in different industries. But this might
Okay.
not be the case with every writer for book writing.
So it's a fair point, because you are saying that definitely
Hmm.
the person who wants to write a book, he is an authority already, and that therefore he is trying to
Absolutely.
publish this book,
Yeah,
and you are only helping him to structure his thoughts,
exactly.
right?
So we bring our
Yeah.
individual expertise
So
there.
structure by mean, okay, and that way you form a team to create the book finally.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So, Jyoti, now that you have a portfolio, right?
Mhm.
I believe somewhere
Yeah,
in our discussions you mentioned you have so far written about 42 books.
I'm part of 42
So,
books.
42,
Some, yeah.
okay.
So some of the books I have edited, there are two books where I have coached the clients. They have written it themselves, but I've done hand holding through the entire process. I've coached them.
Mm-hmm.
And some books I have written
Okay.
from the
But
scratch.
so still, in a
Yeah,
way, it's part of your portfolio, right? You have
absolutely.
so many books to showcase to your clients. But
Yes.
when you started after that velocity reading,
Hmm.
there was hardly anything to show, right?
Yeah,
Just one book to your name.
yeah.
So then how did it work? How did you
Uh,
build from there to this 42 books list?
so I think my content writing experience was a good support there because I was known in content writing. I mean, I'm saying known because I'm just talking about the business network I was part of. So people there, they knew that
Mm-hmm.
I'm into writing, and I think that trust built in automatically. And this particular business colleague of mine for whom I wrote the book on velocity reading, he recommended me to of his clients, and thus through word of mouth, I started building the portfolio.
Okay. So this business network or the network group that you belong to, again, that
Hmm.
also in a way helped you with the recognition that, okay, here is a new writer who
Yeah,
can write
yeah,
well. Okay.
absolutely.
So are there any other networks like Business Network where typically you will get
Hmm.
ghostwriters part of the group?
I'm not part of any writer specific group as such, but
Mm-hmm.
there's this network called PRCI. They are basically into public relations and communications. So, a budding writer might take up a membership there, because under this network, we have individuals coming from corporates, from the public relations background,
Mm-hmm.
advertising background, marketing background. And these are both corporate as well as government, semi government employees who are part of this network. So, and this network is across India and some parts globally also. I think that might help. I'm contemplating joining them. I know someone
Okay.
there and I'm contemplating joining them, but currently with my hands full, I have one panda that, whatever you have, try and deliver that to your best. I don't want to just accumulate work and not being able to give it on
Deliver.
time. Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely.
That's a good strategy because
Yeah,
otherwise you take too much work, and if you're not able to deliver, then yeah, your
actually.
clients eventually will understand that not
Yeah,
reliable. Yeah. So yeah, you have to build yourself as a reliable person also.
yeah, and that's an indirect value that you're communicating. That this is an indirect
Uh-huh.
value you're actually telling your client, that you deliver on time. So that's again a value that you're
Mm-hmm.
bringing, right? Most of the times, my clients tell
Yeah.
me that Jyoti, we might lack somewhere, we might get busy, but we trust on you that you will make us complete the book on time. So that is the onus they put on me, and it's part of my working style also that I keep on following up. If there is a lag, meeting,
Mm-hmm.
if the meeting is supposed to happen 1 week, within a week, and if it has not happened, then I have to keep following up. I do that.
Okay.
Hmm.
So yeah, that helps them be on track as well.
Yeah.
So Jyoti, now coming to this voice of the author.
Mhm.
So now you have a certain style of writing, and the client has a different style of writing. So how do you
Okay.
adapt to that style of writing, and how do you ensure these two voices are very different?
Right.
Because you are the one writing for different, so many different people, right? And
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
have your own style also.
So as I mentioned that I try and take a lot of inputs from my clients, what they want, how they want it to be delivered. Like example, fiction versus non-fiction or non-fiction versus autobiography. When it comes to non-fiction book, say a self-help book, so there I need to work on a particular structure But whereas when it's an autobiography, it's free flow of information, storytelling style and all. So I need to understand every client's requirement, what they want, and I also make them do a bit of sampling or something that they have already written somewhere. I ask them to share that with me, so I get a fair idea about them. Third is, once the first draft is written, say suppose I write one chapter, I share it with the client for review, and that's where they come back to me. They say if it's in sync with their voice or not, and if not, then what are the changes required. So it's a stepwise process where at different times the inputs are taken from the client, and we set the expectations right in the start with the chapter one, and then once you get the hang of it, then you can go ahead and create the other chapters.
So, Jyoti, have you used AI, any of these AI tools that are available now?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
so does
I
that,
do use.
okay, does that
Yeah.
help with your writing process? Does it speed up your writing for your clients?
AI certainly helps in speeding up the process. However, what I feel and what I do is, see, the originality of the idea should come from you. The originality of the content should come from you, because I will not depend on AI to do a research for me, because it will give me content, but it will take content from random sites and present it to me. And what I feel is, it is important that you research very well, you write the draft, you write the first copy, and present it. Maybe you present the client once, twice, and still, if they're not getting that voice which we spoke in the earlier question, I might
Mhm.
use AI for rephrasing what is already written. But what is already written is
Okay.
purely original work, and it's not asking AI to generate content for me. So it's
Okay. So
that
you
just
don't
that
use,
support.
okay, you don't use AI for generating the first draft. You use
No.
for rephrasing if the client isn't happy with.
Yes, only to change the voice, because they might say thoda professional chahiye, thoda casual chahiye. So
Mhm.
only in that case, because how many times would you keep redrafting?
Mhm.
So only in such cases I might use AI, but not
Okay.
for research or
So,
original draft.
but have you tried using for original draft? Does it help?
No, I'm not happy with it. I will. You'll never be satisfied using AI to generate information, because what I have seen is it is very restricted in approach, at least till
Mm-hmm.
now. See, it is very fast, but it is very restricted in approach. And if you are of the old school of thought, and if you have already researched quite well for your books in the past, versus if you're going for AI, you will see that the information is very restricted.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't suggest it, at least at this point of time. Of course, it is AI is undergoing a lot of development. Maybe in the years to come, it might be better off,
Mm-hmm.
but yes, not at this point of time to write the original draft.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so even when you are talking about rephrasing, because
Hmm.
maybe you need to make it more professional or lighter
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
So that is also interesting because
Hmm.
you can kind of create a persona of the client and then say that, okay, write for this kind of a person, right?
Yeah.
This is the
Yes.
kind of voice I want in the writing.
Yeah. Only thing is, you need to know the right prompts to put.
Yeah, the prompts
So
are
I
important.
Yes, I went to meet up with a client of mine last week. He's a CA,
Mm-hmm.
and it so happened he said, "Jyoti, I like your writing." And I told him, "Sir, at places I have used AI." So he's like, "Oh, can you do that with AI?" I was not able to figure out. So I just smiled, because I know that you need to know the right prompts,
Uh-huh.
right? Anyone and everyone can use AI and come up with a book, but जो existing है उसको भी how you can beautify it, how you
Mm-hmm.
can make it more professional, is
Mm-hmm.
all dependent on how you're using the prompts.
Yeah. So basically, you have to be a writer in mind and
Yeah.
vision, and then you are
Yes.
able to write the correct prompt so that you are
Yeah.
able to guide the AI to give you the kind of output that you're looking for.
Absolutely. See, because
Okay.
if my client has a draft already written, and my client is giving the same prompt, and if he is giving me the draft and I'm putting the same prompt, automatically the output is going to be same, right? For him also, for me also, in
Mhm.
AI. So my prompts have to be such that the output is different. It's next level.
Mhm.
And yeah, so I have case which I told you already,
Mhm.
and it works. But yes, you have to restrict yourself, because yeah, one of business colleague again asked me that, Jyoti, you might not find using AI ethical, right? I said, no, it's not like that. It's like how you use it, when you use it, and how to what extent you use it, that defines. And again, you have to be very clear to your clients also that yes, I have used AI. I
Mhm.
accept that. When they ask me, I accept that yes, at certain places I have used AI, and in this form.
Mhm.
Because tomorrow, like plagiarism, we have apps that would catch content which are AI
Written
written.
by,
AI
yes.
written. Huh. So tomorrow my client should not come and tell me that, Jyoti, why did I pay you for? What did I pay you for when you had to write the book in AI? I could have done it myself.
Mhm.
So I need to justify this to my client also. Even in Amazon Kindle, if you're trying to upload your book, there is an option it asks that, is this an AI written book?
Okay.
So if I do not disclose all these things to my clients, see, again, this is again an ethical and value part, you know. So
Uh-huh.
today, if I do not disclose to my client, and my client is uploading the book on Amazon Kindle, and if the client is not, clicking that particular option, but somehow it's technology, it is if it detects, so it's against my value system, that if the client comes and counter questions me that why did you do that,
Hmm.
yeah, so use it but justify it.
So you spoke about two interesting things, and yes,
Yeah.
because you are in the kind of career field that you are, ghostwriting,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
all about writing for others. So
Yeah.
you spoke about value systems and you spoke about ethical considerations, right?
Yeah.
So in the field of ghostwriting, what
Hmm.
kind of ethical considerations might come into play? One is like you
Okay.
mentioned that being transparent, right, about
Yeah.
usage of AI in the writing, and
Yeah.
what other ethical considerations may come.
So today, sitting here in this century, in this year, if I want some information from the past, so I'm writing books on different subjects. One of the books is on evolution. So, of course, I have to go and search information for evolution. And when I'm getting that information, I need to see that I'm referencing it well. I'm giving
Mhm.
due credit to the person, whoever has written that article or the research paper, because those people, they have taken efforts at that time, and that credit, you have to give that credit. I mean, however long your reference list goes, I think you have to give that credit to those authors.
Mhm.
So
Okay,
that's one important thing I will suggest to all the writers.
okay. Anything else that when you are dealing with ghostwriting, specifically you're writing about so many different industries, and
Hmm.
when you're talking to your client, does it happen ever that your value systems clash, and or there is maybe ethical considerations, or the thinking ethically about certain points, there is a difference
Yeah,
of opinion,
true.
it
Yeah, it
happens?
does. It does happen, and it has happened in the past. And you kind of gauge these people when you talk to them, because see, book writing is a lengthier process. So even to come to the agreement part, I have already had 3 to 4 calls all with the prospect, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in this time, you're able to gauge them as to what is their thinking process, how they act, how soon they want the book, how do they think about money? Are they too money minded? Are they too timeline driven? Are they too very restricted in approach? Or there are some who are like, Jyoti, I give you a free hand. I know you're expert in your field. I'll give whatever details you want. So when you talk about the value system or ethics, you come to know these nuances during the initial interactions only.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a red flag for you not to continue ahead. And I have done this in the past. There has been one or two cases where I have written back, I have returned the advance fees also,
Okay.
because I thought that I don't want to lose my peace of mind
Mm-hmm.
working for this client. Because yeah, maybe I might not have that assignment, I might not have that money, but at the end of the day, I feel that if I take efforts and work on some other prospect, they might turn into a good client, and even I will have my peace of mind.
Makes sense.
Writing is all about that, right? If you're
Yes.
not peaceful here, I don't think so you'll be able to deliver, and
Mm-hmm.
it will show in the quality of work and everything. It's a vicious circle.
And how do you determine the pricing structure of a book?
Oh, that's very dynamic, because what I have done is I have kept a price range from for these many pages, say 100 to 150 pages. So and so is the price range. 150 to 200 pages. So and so is the price range. Because what I have observed is when I had kept a fixed pricing,
Mm-hmm.
then again people come and negotiate, and then it is very difficult to convince them. Now that I have structured everything, for this much it is this much, for this much it is that much, what is included in my services, what is not included in my services. So bifurcating it this way has made things easier.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, any kind of challenges you have faced overall in your journey?
Challenges, one major challenge is, see, whoever comes to write a book, they are established authorities in their own field. Okay, this is a secondary thing that they're doing, this is not their primary profession, right?
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes, most of the times, they're too tied up with their existing routines with their profession, and which is why there are chances that the book gets delayed, how much ever I try to follow up. But there are chances that the book might get delayed. And if the book gets delayed, it is the payments get delayed, because unless the work milestones are completed, I cannot ask for payments.
Mm-hmm.
Second thing is, if the assignments get delayed, I have to start new assignments, right? Because newer inquiries do come and I have to start new assignments. And sometimes what happens is this delayed work and the new work, they all come at once.
Together.
So sometimes there's like too much of stress, everything at once.
Mm-hmm.
And you cannot deny your clients ki nahi abhi, now you were not there, now you wait for 15 days, I have started something else.
Mm-hmm.
Because they wouldn't like that. They
Mm-hmm.
would think that, why do you have to take so many assignments, and you're getting paid enough, why did you have to take the second assignment? But if there is a delay, everything goes for a toss for me.
Mm-hmm.
So this is one challenge that I'm facing. Two of my clients, last year we started writing their book. One is one, the manuscript is completed and I've submitted, but he's not been able to get back to me with his review. Second is 75% of the work is completed, and there's no feedback. So both of the clients were critically ill. So in
Okay.
such scenarios, you cannot be pushy that I have to complete the work, I have to take up new assignments, or my payments are pending. You cannot, because you have to be the human,
Yes.
in
Yeah.
such scenarios, and you have to tell them that it's okay, take your time, that way. But I subtly try to tell them that the more you delay, the more chances that we'll have to rework on things a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the case, because time is the essence here. This is one challenge that I have majorly faced.
So apart from this, any other challenges that you have come across, or you feel one who wants to explore this career path, they should keep it in mind that this might come their way?
Actually, what I would suggest everyone is be very clear about your terms and conditions, your agreement clauses with your client. However professional they are or however established they are, it's good to have everything in black and white. It's good to have every nuances written in black and white and agreed upon. See, despite all this, there are gaps. But sometimes, as I told you, we have to consider the human element. Be very clear, transparent about what you can offer, what is the client's expectations of you, the deliverables, what is going to be the timeline, all that.
Okay. And
Hmm.
financially, would you say this is a sustainable form of career path?
As I told you, AI is still dormant, and I don't know how AI is going to evolve, in the coming years. Because I remember when ChatGPT was launched, those 2 months, I clearly didn't have any inquiry for book writing, and I told my husband, "You think that people might just depend on ChatGPT totally?" And he's like, "I told you, be prepared for this, right?" But from the third month again, I started getting my inquiries as usual. And in fact, I started getting more work.
Mm-hmm.
So, what I feel is, yes, there will be situations such, which will come and challenge you. One thing is, you have to keep yourself updated. You have to create a niche for yourself, that even if ChatGPT or any authors exist in the market, what is it that you are doing differently? What is the value that you are presenting? Your pricing needs to be competitive. You have to build your portfolio in such a way that people should look forward to work with you. You don't have to actually market yourself. So your portfolio should speak for you.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you're doing all this, we have a long way to go. And even if AI is there, I think we will always need the human element. In context to this only, when Grammarly was introduced,
Mm-hmm.
people used to ask me, Ki, shall we take the paid version of Grammarly and all? I said, you take the free version of Grammarly or you take the paid version of Grammarly. If you don't know grammar, जो Grammarly suggestions देता है, even you might not be able to gauge if they're right or wrong, because Grammarly does give some suggestions which does not fit into your writing style at times.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
yeah, you must have
I
observed
have
it
seen
yourself.
that. Yeah. Yes.
Yes. So the point is, if you take paid version, you take free version, you go for AI, you go for any tool, the human element has to be there to verify things and bring it in the right perspective.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Jyoti, my question was around financial sustainability,
Hmm.
in terms of this being your sole source of income.
Yeah.
So let's say, see, when somebody is writing a book themselves,
Yeah.
people who write their own books,
Yeah.
who are not utilizing ghostwriters, okay?
Okay.
So for them, when they are writing a book, the amount of time they spend, whether they will get returns in terms of the sales and the royalty and all that, that's a different line of financial
Absolutely.
sustainability, right? But here
Yeah.
you're working for someone, so you get paid before even the book is launched.
So I think once you're established, you do not have to look out for any other line of business. because this here itself, I feel there is a lot of work. It's about how you're reaching out to people with your work, how you're promoting yourself.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
So then this one can consider if they are good at writing and if they want to write books. And
absolutely.
probably this can also be a very good way of learning the entire writing process if you have future aspirations of becoming an author yourself.
Actually,
Okay.
yeah.
So, Jyoti, with this, we will wind up our discussion today.
Okay.
And thank you so much for your time. It's been a very good discussion with you. We have
Yeah.
learned a lot of things from you. Any parting advice for people?
So, one thing that I forgot to tell here is most of the people might ask you that you're a ghostwriter, that means you write ghost stories. So it starts from there. You
Okay.
have to educate people at all levels. When I said promoting your work, is basically educating people about your work, and it's it's a continuous process. So it's not that today I have enough work, so I do not go out and promote myself. You have to keep doing that, and that ensures your financial sustainability also. When you do that, you have ongoing clients, you're visible to people, and I think that is one small advice I have for everyone.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mahua. And it
Okay.
was a pleasure sharing my experiences with you. Really, I thank you for inviting me on this platform.
Thank you, Jyoti. And that brings us to the end of this insightful conversation with Jyoti Rane. Throughout this episode, we followed her inspiring journey from HR to ghostwriting, where she built a thriving career working on 42 plus books across various genres. Jyoti's thoughtful advice on pricing projects, managing client relationships, and building a body of work with integrity offers a clear roadmap for anyone considering a career in ghostwriting. Her reflections on the emotional satisfaction that comes from helping clients see their dreams come to life make this episode a must listen for all aspiring writers. A big thank you to Jyoti Rane for her candid reflections and insightful advice. If you found this episode helpful, please subscribe, leave a comment, and